Hi, y'all. Welcome to the BirthFit podcast and happy 2026. I am coming to you live from a hotel room. This is the first night I am spending away from my baby girl in 2.5 years, y'all. It's wild. And it's also like I was kind of excited to get some shit done. So here we are, and I am recording some podcasts. I want to share with you the new mission of BirthFit. And for those of you that have been around for quite some time, you're the OGs of OGs. Maybe you've joined me, since 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. Like those are some of the early days. Y'all, the first BirthFit Summit was in my backyard in 2016. Crazy. But anyways, over the last 2 years or so since having my baby girl, as many of you mothers can relate, you go through this metamorphosis, right? As a new mom, as a human being, and your brain and your body literally melt and come back together. It crumble to all kinds of pieces and come back together. And you get so many downloads. And, one of those downloads was like, just stop everything and focus on being a mother. And, I did that for the first year. And I really think that was nice. And being an older new mom, as I'm somebody that got pregnant naturally at 40, gave birth to our baby girl on our back porch. Um, and it was just the most epic, beautiful experience, the like coolest trip. Like, I don't know if any of y'all have ever done plant medicine, but the coolest trip literally my mind has ever been on. Um, and I really think like that's what I needed to do for a year, was just be so present at being a mother and like really integrate that. Um, and I did. I soaked it all up, and then I started getting the itch to like light my entrepreneur flame again. And yeah, and I kept reimagining BirthFit and restructuring it, reorganizing it. And I wanted BirthFit to not only change the world, right? Because that's why I started it. Like, I still want BirthFit to change the world. And also, I want it to fit into my life and not drain me and, um, allow me to be a mom too and a wife. And, as somebody that has taken on additional roles since I started BirthFit, because as when I started BirthFit, 2013, I was not a mother, I was not a wife. I could wake up middle of the night, go on like random work sessions. You're like, what is time? Like, I had all this time in the world, and like now, I actually get more stuff done. It's kind of funny. Um, because you're so efficient with time now, right? As a mom. But yeah, I want it to fit in with the capacity that I have. I want to be motivated about it again. And I am. I'm so motivated about it again. And I think it comes from this flame reigniting. And I want Vera to know how cool her mom is and what she started and the legacy that's going to live on beyond me. And she can carry that torch if she wants. She can pass it on to other women if she wants. Um, so here we go. I want to share this with you. At BirthFit, we empower coaches and practitioners to lead women in reclaiming rhythm, resilience, and sovereignty. We don't chase hacks or trends. We return to what works. We are grounded in the 7 pillars: sun, sleep, fitness, nourishment, mindset, community, and spirit or spirituality. Our framework equips leaders to teach the fundamentals that create lasting strength and adaptability. We do the basics well, the BIRTHFIT basics and the 7 pillar basics. We do the basics well because mastery of the fundamentals is what makes women strong, sovereign, and adaptable through every season of womanhood. And I use the word sovereign from a place meaning mother-led. And you can have a sovereign birth experience in the hospital. You can have a sovereign birth experience in the ocean. You can have a sovereign birth experience on your back porch, like I did. It's totally up to you. But what matters is that it is mother-led, that you led it, the mother, or that you, the coach or practitioner, showed, guided, coached your client, your woman, on how to how to show up in her birth experience. Mother-led is sovereign. One thing I want to add is you cannot have a sovereign birth experience without embracing radical responsibility. You could also say extreme ownership. I know both of those phrases might trigger some people, and they've gotten a little trendy. But radical responsibility or extreme ownership, whichever phrase tickles you fancy right now, literally is owning your shiznit and the consequences that come with it. Owning your part in the equation, not excusing the other person's negative behavior if there was any negative behavior there, but owning your part in it. And I think that's tough for some people still, because we live in this culture and this society that really promotes a victim mentality. And woe is me. And the opposite of we can do hard things. I've had some gnarly things in my journey in life, but I think embracing a few mindset keys, like perils, such as radical responsibility, has really given me freedom, has really allowed myself to let go of the chains that come with the victim mindset. So just something to think about, just food for thought. Anyways, this podcast is going to be a little bit different. In the past, y'all, I've done a podcast since I think it was 2016 I started. You can go back in the archives and listen if you want to. There are some old episodes. There are some gems of episodes in the past. And I think they're absolutely still relevant. Like we got some old episodes with the one and only Lily Nichols. Go listen to her stuff. She's still brilliant. She hasn't changed. She's only gotten smarter. And I still love her. But the podcast is going to change a bit. We are going to do short format. And I'm going to focus on just me talking to you as if you're sitting across from me in this hotel room or like at a coffee shop, very intimate. And they're going to be maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes at the most, but short and sweet. Occasionally, I will release a guest speaker and or have an interview of somebody that's been inside of our programs. So you can have a little glimpse inside of the BIRTHFIT world if you're not in it yet. So today I wanted to start with, let me find my notes, y'all. I actually wrote notes, dear Lord. All right, so today, oh, yes, here it is. I wanted to start with the spirituality pillar and just getting your wheels turning on this one. I I sent a blurb out in a newsletter last year. I think it was in October sometime of 2025, if you're listening to this. Um, and I'm just going to read it to you because I think I'm going to read a little bit of what I wrote. So every time I post something about my birth experience being blissful, um, and that I did not experience pain, like y'all, I would not describe my birth as painful at all. Maybe intense, challenging at points, but I really, really enjoyed my birth experience. Like, I really hope I get the opportunity to do that again. So every time I post something about my birth experience being blissful or God's design is brilliant, I get a response from somebody that's like, even in the Bible, it says birth is to be painful. And so I did a little digging, and I'm not somebody that can like pull up Bible verses, like um I'm not well read or my memory's not quite as sharp. Um, Charlie Kirk was a master at this. It was phenomenal to watch that dude or listen to him. But what I feel like people are referring to is the verse Genesis 3:16. And it has been translated with a focus on pain. To the woman, he said, I will surely multiply your pain in childbearing. In pain, you shall bring forth children. Is this what your version of the Bible says? Because I actually don't believe that. And in my body, it does not feel like the truth. Um, and now I feel like we're all smart enough to realize that sometimes in over time, things get translated differently, watered down, shifted. The meaning gets not what it was intended to. And I've never thought God designed birth to be painful. Um, I feel as though the meaning and intention got lost in translation. That's a movie, right? Maybe I'm dating old and dating myself, like got lost in translation. So the Hebrew word, and I can't speak Hebrew, so I'm just gonna say the Hebrew word, um, it's savion, which was used in Genesis 3:16. It's spelled itstsavon or etzev. That's the word. That's the original Hebrew word. This rich word appears 3 times in Genesis. So it appears in Genesis 3:16, referring to childbearing, and then again in 3:17, referring to Adam's work in the field, and then again in 5:29, referring to the toil of our hands. Now, if you look at those 3 different verses and the same word was used, it's used for Adam's work. And when we look at Adam's work, it's typically translated as toil or painful toil, not excruciating agony, but hard, challenging work that requires effort and perseverance. So the Hebrew word itstsavon encompasses multiple meanings: toil and labor, effort and exertion, hardship and difficulty, sorrow or pain. God also gives us dominion, y'all. Rather than focusing solely on pain, a fuller understanding of Genesis 3:16 might read, I will greatly increase your labor in childbearing. With toil and hard work, you will bring forth children. I kind of resonate with that one better. So this interpretation honors the intensity of birth while recognizing that it is powerful and purposeful work rather than mere pain and suffering. Whew. I hope y'all are still with me. My question to you is this: do you not trust God's design? One of the reasons that I never bought into the translated version of the verse Genesis 3:16 is because God made us. His design is brilliant and purposeful. When we examine how God designed the female body for birth, we see remarkable evidence that birth was meant to be supported, not simply endured, not suffering. God designed us with a circadian rhythm. So when we optimize our physiological processes, which are cued by natural light and dark cycles, we harvest melatonin during the day. Melatonin drives uterine sensitivity to oxytocin for strong, efficient uterine contractions. That right there is evidence enough to me that God is absolutely brilliant and that He did not want birth to be endured and suffered through. He gave us tools, hormones, oxytocin, the love hormone. It facilitates contractions and promotes bonding between mother and baby. Again, that is God's design. Endorphins, the body's natural pain relief, released during labor to help mother cope with intensity. Relaxin, a hormone that softens ligaments and prepares the pelvis to open. The cervix, designed to dilate progressively, working in harmony with contractions. And then the baby's skull, which are soft bones that can overlap so slightly so that they can navigate the birth canal. Those are just 6 little evidence pieces right there. And I think those are monumental to show that God's design is brilliant. And you can absolutely make a different choice. I chose not the path of pain and suffering. And I would invite you to try a different choice on. So, this intricate design suggests that childbirth was created to be intense labor, hard work, challenging and demanding, and supported by the body's own God-given systems. We are equipped with everything needed for this sacred work. Birth is sacred. So, shedding an identity to make space for joy. I invite you, try on another reflection. So, many of us women, including myself, are fearful of stepping into greatness. No, I've been scared to step into greatness, which is why probably BIRTHFIT is not as big as Nike. Or, you know, I have to remind myself to step into greatness. You have to remind yourself to step into greatness. Birth asks you to step into greatness. Stepping into motherhood, stepping into a new identity. This process can require big, painful, challenging effort, but miracles don't come without effort. Miracles don't come without effort, and you don't evolve to the next level. You don't expand without getting uncomfortable first. Jesus himself speaks to the nature of childbirth in John 16:21. When a woman is giving birth, she has sorrow because her hour has come. But when she has delivered the baby, she no longer remembers the anguish for joy that a human being has been born into the world. In this verse, Jesus acknowledges the difficulty of labor, the sorrow, and the anguish of the work, right? Like you're shedding a whole identity. He also emphasizes the joy that follows is so profound that it eclipses the intensity of the labor itself. This isn't about minimizing the challenge of birth. It's about recognizing that the difficulty is temporary. Her hour has come. The purpose is greater, bringing new life into the world. And that joy is transformative, so powerful that the memory of the hard work fades in comparison. Jesus uses childbirth as a metaphor for transformation throughout Scripture. When something difficult must happen so that something beautiful can emerge, this elevates birth as sacred work, not as a curse to be endured. So I invite you to reclaim the truth about birth that feels right in your body. Birth is hard work. And women are designed for hard work. We can do hard things. Birth requires effort and focus, like any significant accomplishment. Birth is challenging, and a challenge can be empowering. Birth involves intensity, and intensity serves a purpose. When we call it labor, we're actually using the perfect word, one that means both childbirth and hard work. Our language has preserved what the Hebrew intended all along. If you're preparing for birth, take heart. You were created for this. Your body knows what to do. The intensity that you'll experience isn't punishment, it's purpose. It's your body working exactly as God designed it to work. Birth is not a curse. It's powerful, purposeful, God designed labor, and you are fearfully and wonderfully made for it. If you are pregnant right now, may you labor with strength, deliver with courage, and rejoice with the joy that only bringing new life can bring. So I wanted y'all to hear that as the first episode of the year. Birth is sacred work. God has equipped women with the strength, with hormones, with instinct, and then the promise of joy on the other side. So I hope you enjoyed that. And please, please, please do me a solid, do me a favor, and leave a review on the BIRTHFIT podcast. I would love that so much. We got to get back moving on the charts, on the podcast charts. And then be sure to check out our BIRTHFIT community membership. This is open to coaches, practitioners, and mothers. We're all have a seat at a table, at our table. This is $49 a month right now. We have weekly calls currently on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. First call of the month, I lead the call, certain subject matters. Second call of the month is usually a guest speaker. Third call of the month is mindset and movement, think prehab and rehab. And then the fourth call of the month is office hours. And there's no too much information. It's like anything goes in the office hours. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. And I look forward to our next episode together.